man? It's the one only DJ Chase, the pregame Party Miss podcast. I told y'all I'm taking interviews over this week. You know this, man. This episode of the pregame Party Miss podcast is brought to you by College Radio Directory. Use the promo code DJ Chase. Get 20% off. Get in touch with the college radios. They pay royalties. And Groove are the hottest platform to get in touch with labels, players, curators to review your music, content, and get real feedback. But today we got the one, the only boom bap hip hop, real, not even hip hop, just real, that hip hop that I love. My guy Ideal in the building. What's good today?
Peace, y'all. I appreciate you having me, bro.
For sure, man. Now I want to get into your background a little bit. I know you're at work right now. I know you're doing some business owner stuff, man. For real,
It's all good, man. I'm a part owner, so I mean, it's not like I'm on my own block.
For sure. Now I want to get into your background. You're from Gary, Indiana, correct?
Yeah, I was born in Toledo. I moved to Gary when I was 9.
Gotcha. Okay. And how was it growing up in Gary?
I mean, rough, man. Gary's rough as it is. It's trying to come back a little bit, but Indiana's just horrible, man. You know what I mean? Like I moved to Michigan when I was like 21 with my my best friend and my producer Pooney, and he like taught me how to grow weed, and I've been selling weed since I was like 12 years old. So Gary's like 10 miles below Michigan. So like we were like, yo, let's go to Michigan and stop getting arrested. And we moved up here and they love us up here.
So. For sure. Now, how was it growing? So you moved to Michigan as an adult, correct?
Yeah. I was 20, 21, 22. Yeah.
Okay. Got you. So now Gary, is known for the gangs and the gangs. Yeah. You know how that go. How was it growing up in that environment, and did it like affect you like as far as the music?
Oh, definitely, man. You know what I mean? I like the friends and the people that I met there, the people of Gary, the spirit's wonderful, man. You know what I mean? Like I still have like all my people are still there. Like people I grew up with and all my friends and their parents and everything are all still there. So I mean, it had a big effect on me, but it was also like you could see Chicago from Gary. So Chicago was like our backyard. So I was like, man, I'm in a past lifetime, I was like stealing cars and wilding out every weekend in Chicago, so it was kind of like it was right there.
Yeah.
But Indiana's rough, man. They're still weed's still illegal, and Gary in particular, the gangs are always there. Lots of gun violence. There was a time when we were the murder capital of the world per capita, so it's like not all the best things. But then, you have like Michael Jackson's from Gary. A lot of people don't know that. There's like the Michael Jackson statue with the Joe Jackson house and Freddie Gibbs, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of great music coming out of there. But yeah, it definitely had a big effect on who I am. Like I don't think I'd be who I am without growing up in 219.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that answer. And with that being said, I want to get into your background a little bit, your inspirations. Now, did you grow up with both your parents or just your mom or just your dad?
Oh, I grew up with both my parents. My dad's he just retired from the military, so he was always at war or like building schools in El Salvador and shit. So it was like my mom basically raised me. But I mean, I was pretty much in the street at a really young age, man. Like I think my parents tried to do a good job, but I was just wilding, man. So like at like 13, I got my first house when I was 16, and I was just like out and about, man. So it was a lot, but
I feel you. And were your parents like involved in music? Was your dad like he's your musical background, anything like that?
No, man, no. I'm the oldest kid in my family, and I'm not like I don't have a lot of extended family or anything like that. My parents are both musicians, but they just wanted me like out of the house. I was just loud and wild from a very young age. So I found it myself, man. When I was around 8 years old, my cousin in Cincinnati gave me All Eyes on Me, and it was literally the week that Tupac died that he gave it to me, and it just instantly like changed my life, man. I didn't know I wanted to rap then, but I started like writing poetry around then, and then I was like reading The Rose That Grew from Concrete, and I was seeing how like Tupac like took these poems and made them songs, and one thing led to another, and before I know it, I was writing, and it was just like it's something that was always inside of me. Like I even to this day, I don't really like sit down to write. I'm just always writing. It's just always coming, and I just try to capture it when I can. But yeah, like when I was like 14, that's when I found like Illmatic and Reasonable Doubt and Black on Both Sides, and that's when I was like, oh, this is where I belong right here. Like this is my pocket.
Well, that explains why you're so good. So that explains it all. You know what I'm saying? For sure. And how did you come with the name Ideal?
My real name is Justin Deal. So it's like I always wanted to like incorporate my name somehow and figure it out. And then like once I never thought that I'd be growing weed for a living legally or selling, but like once that really became a part of it, I was like, oh, my last name is Deal. And I was like, that's why I put the I in parentheses, because I was like, oh, I am Deal. And I also deal drugs. I was like, this all makes too much sense. You know what I mean? So like, once that came together, I was like, this is where it's at. I go back.
For sure. And how did you feel? Like, how do you feel about the Midwest music scene now? Because the Midwest, I feel like this, right? I'm from New York.
Yeah.
everybody has pillaged from Chicago, the Midwest, that crucial conflict, that
Oh yeah.
the what's his name? My guy,
Twister
Freddie
and
Twister,
Bow.
Freddie
Yeah.
Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? All
Yep.
of that. So, how do you feel about the Midwest music scene today?
Oh, I mean, I think it's amazing, especially like Chicago. Like with Save Money and Chance, they really they were kind of the first ones. I felt for like a long time, like you had Kanye and Common, and even Freddie went to LA. Everybody always kind of left Chicago to go. They went to New York or LA to get big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like with Save Money and Chance, they really kind of were the first ones to be like, no, we love Chicago and we're going to represent it from here. So I thought, like, I think now it's in a great place, and I think it's finally getting its just due and its shine. And
I agree.
there's a lot of like Vic Jenkins, obviously Chance, Vic. There's a lot of huge talent coming out of Chicago right now that that I really love, man. Really happy to be a part of it.
For sure. I was just up there June 1st. So I'm always
Nice.
I literally just up there. So I was on I was doing a boat tour on Lake Michigan and all that, the Chicago
Beautiful,
River. So
man. Beautiful
yeah, it's
out
beautiful.
there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, yeah. So I do want to ask this question now. 2019, you actually left, and you was in a group called Midwest Hype, and you actually left the group. What made you want to go solo?
I'm still in it. Like we've been around I've been in the band since 2010, and the
Okay.
band's been around since like 2006. So I'm still in it. We're actually just announced we're going to be touring with Sublime here shortly over the summer.
Fire.
Which is kind of like I never like left the group, but it's just we're at the most we're 7 pieces, and we put out like 5 or 6 albums, and so I was just like I just have so much material that it's like I'm still in the group. We still do things, but like my main focus has been on my solo stuff recently. But it's still together, it's still around, and it's just it's a big difference to be like rocking solo with the DJ. I love rocking it and rocking a hip hop crowd, but like with a huge band like that, man, it's just
sounds
it's a
better.
Sonic wall.
Sound better.
Sound
better. Yeah, sound better.
Just
yep,
like
sound
the whole,
better.
it's a different vibe overall. It's bigger than you. So like when we're all on stage together and everything's hitting on all cylinders, it's one of the best feelings in the world, man. Before I was in the band, I always used to be like, man, if I could just rap over live drums, I'd be so happy. And now I get to. And like I said, when it's hitting, it's hitting. And when the crowd's into it, it's like one of the best feelings ever, man.
Gotcha, for sure, man. And like, do you find it easier to work as a solo artist, or do you find it easier to work as with a band?
So it's really crazy. Like even my first solo EP, I did with a bunch of amazing jazz musicians, and I let them kind of like freestyle jam. And then we would take like the best parts and synthesize that into beats, and I'd rap and I'd write while they were jamming and stuff. But
that's fire.
With the band, it's so much easier because it's like when I put out my first actual solo album, Scatterbrain, it was like I had never really thought about what I wanted my music to sound like.
Yeah.
Like the band is like, I'm like, oh, I want to rap on that, or like somebody gives me a beat, I'm like, okay, sweet, that's perfect. But like that was the first time that I took it like there's a blank slate. Like, what do I want my music to sound like? And that was a big thing for me that kind of like, it took me a second to wrap my head around it. You know, like I'm the one, I don't make my own beats, but I'm there. Like, my producer Pooney, who I talked about before, he usually like, he just sampling, looking all day for samples. And when he finds something, he'll just start playing me things. And if I show interest in them, then we'll have all my friends from Midwest Type and all these other cats that we know that are really dope. We'll have them come over and layer instruments on top of it. So I'm very involved in it, but I don't necessarily make it. I just kind of like let it take me where it's going to. So with the band, it's a lot easier, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot harder by myself. I kind of feel like Prince in the studio making all his own music from scratch. You know what I mean?
It's too much.
Yeah, it's a dichotomy. I like it both, honestly. I call myself a musician now because I did that, and like I've made music rather than just rapping on anything.
Now, for sure, man. I'm gonna tell you this: like, I'm a fan, bro. Like,
I truly appreciate that, man.
Yeah, for sure. And you performed all over. You know what I'm saying? You did a lot of shows. We come from that indie grind of the shows. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where has been your favorite place to perform?
I mean, so like it was right after the pandemic. Conway took me with him. It was his first world tour for the Love Will Get You Killed tour, and we did all of Europe. And it was the first show we played was in Amsterdam at Milkway, and it was the day that they ended masks and everything, and it was their first show in the whole country in like 3 years. And it was my dad was stationed in Germany. I brought him out. It was his birthday, and like the crowd was just like ape shit in there. So I gotta say that was like maybe the best show I've ever played. It was insane.
Yeah, now salute to that, man. And being signed to yourself, I want to say this: you should sign to yourself. I would say, correct?
Yeah, I'm completely independent. Me and my band as well. Like I've been independent since day one. Like I've entertained some record deals, but like as of right now, it's like I own all my music. I own every part of it. So it would take a lot. Like it would take a lot for me to give that up. You know, it'd have to be the right deal and the right thing. I'm completely open to it, but I'm already used to it. You know, I print all my own T-shirts. I book all my own shows, so it's like I already know how to live in that area.
Yeah, and that's why I asked because my show is geared towards music education, so that's why I try to
Yep.
I try to get like everybody's like expertise on different things like that, and I want to talk about some music right now. So the album Scatterbrain, fire, fire,
Thank you,
fire,
man.
and we gonna talk
Thank you.
about that in the record because I want to talk about Boom Baptism, my favorite
Yeah.
record. That
Thank you,
we
man.
gonna talk about that. Why did the title Scatterbrain?
It's like so. My first album was Wildlife. I always wanted like every album title to like kind of coincide with each other. So like every album that I put out, I like take two words and put them together. And I am very scatterbrained. I'm like all over the place. Like just being an independent musician and an entrepreneur and everything. It's like
Yeah,
everything's just always moving in circles in my mind. So as soon as that it hit me, I was like, Scatterbrain's the next album, bro.
yeah,
I was talking with Poonie, my producer, and he was like, yeah, that's it for sure. And
yeah.
it just clicked. And when it falls in place like that, it's just like when it's right.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now I want to talk about this. We're gonna get into Boom Baptism, but we gotta pay the bills. So the new single, The Crown, October, London, Benny
Yeah,
the
man.
Cat, Miss Butcher, my favorite two artists out right now besides you. Those like that
Thank you,
just hit
bro.
hose. Those are my favorite artists right now for sure.
Thank you, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
October's
yeah.
voice is amazing. It's
He's
absolutely he's
he's
like my favorite
yeah,
singer.
yeah. He's it, bro. He's it for
He's
real.
killing it. He's on a run right now too.
Yeah,
Terry, he just did Madison Square Garden, and yeah,
yeah,
he's all over everybody's album.
yeah,
So
for
shout
sure.
out to October. He's killing it,
Yes,
man.
yeah, man. How did that record come about? And how did you get them for the video at the same time?
So it was like October's from South Bend. So I'm right now. I'm in Buchanan, Michigan, which is right above
Yeah.
South Bend, Indiana. And October's
Oh,
from
okay.
South Bend. And
Okay.
so I've just known him for a long time. It's a real small town. It's only like 500,000 people or something. So it's like
Yeah.
I've known him for a while, and I always wanted to get him on a track. And then he's personally managed by Snoop, and so
Yeah.
Snoop did a video for "We Only Smoke That Fire." And we were just opening up our dispensary, our micro grow here. And he was like, why don't you do a product placement with your weed in the video? And so my producer Poonie and his brother, the other owner, RJ here, they went out and they were in Snoop's video. They were like the only white dudes in the video in all white. They told him to come in all white, and he thought it was an all white party, and they were the only two in all white looking like Backstreet Boys. It's hilarious. But from there, October was like, let's do something together. And so that just he works so fast. So like we just sent him a bunch of beats. And he sent us that back, and then we also ended up doing "Lifted," the title or the theme song, kind of for our dispensary here with them. And he just sent it back so fast. And then, like I said, I've been touring with Conway for a while, on and off. And then I toured Europe again with Road Streets, and I've been touring with Stove Guy pretty hard recently. And they're all in that same camp, all the Griselda camp. And so they just hit me up. They're like, "Yo, we're doing features for you've been working with us for a while, so we got you on a nice price." So it took me a while to get it back from Benny, but once I got that verse back from Benny, I was just like, "Thank you, bro. This shit is fire, man."
Yeah.
And then he hit me up. We were supposed to do a video for it in Miami,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Yo, things changed, man. Not able to do that. Can you take a train to Buffalo in a blizzard right now?" I was like, "I guess I can, bro." I was like, "If that's the only time you can do it, I guess I can." But the video turned out great, man, and that's one of my favorite tracks on the record for sure. Shout out to Benny. Shout out to October for real.
Nah, man, that record is fire. Who Poonie produced that one too?
Yeah, Pooney's produced every beat that I've ever been a solo artist on. Like I'm working with other producers, but me and him, like I said, he works here with me. We're the two growers, and we live right down the road. And our workflow is just like
just
we
get
don't
it
even
easier.
have to say anything. It's just so
get it
easy
done.
to do it. So yeah, we rock pretty hard together.
For sure, man. And I do want to ask this. All right, so let's talk about Boom Baptism. That record that's something different. I love the concept. I love the you're very talented, my brother. I do want to say
Thank you, bro, for real.
What inspired that record you to write that record?
So the feature on it is Gift to Gab, who's like one of my heroes coming up, man. And right before he passed, we had him out at this festival we used to throw out here, and he was the last headliner that we had for that. And he was like, "Yo, while we're here, why don't we do a track?" And I didn't actually get to record with him, but he sent me the verse back, and it was just like such a huge honor. And then once he passed, it really just took on a whole bigger meaning to me and shit. So I was like, we have to put this record out. It's like an homage to him and like everything that he's taught me. And it just all came together really nicely, man. Like, rest in peace to Gab, like one of my heroes for real. But yeah, he blessed me with that. And I was like, this has to be a big, it wasn't going to be a single. I don't think it's normally a single sounding song.
Yeah.
But because he passed and everything, I was like, man, this is for him, bro. So it was the first single off of Scatterbrain.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, it's funny because I didn't even know that was a single. I was just listening to it like I'm just going through your catalog, and I'm like, this is fire. Like this is
we used we looked up the hook for it, man. I just wanted like Boom Baptism. I wanted like a choir sounding singing thing. And like
Yeah.
literally the first thing I Googled, I was just like, I just looked up choir, and the first thing I Googled was that sample to go,
Yeah.
oh, precious is the flow. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's Gab talking to us, bro. I was like, that's him screeching you down, being like, this is the one right here.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I do want to ask this question, brother. Like, what has been, you know, we talk a lot about the success. We talk about the triumphs. We talk about the the great things. But what has been one of the hardest things that you had to deal with in the music business?
Oh man, it's not failure, but just as an independent musician, just like putting out records and constantly having to grind, and like even when we sell like the House of Blues or something, when something goes great for you, in this day and age, it's like it's immediately over. You sell out the show, you 5,000 people, whatever, it's over the next day. You got to move on to the next thing. So it's not necessarily a failure, but just always having to grind. Like you always gotta have content. You always gotta have something on the horizon. Even like you're planning something, it's going great. You need to have that next thing planned and that next thing, because the momentum, as soon as the momentum dies off, you know what I mean? As an independent musician, I don't have a label behind you that's just like pushing shit all day long. So it's like you got to have that constant uptick, and like shout out to my publicist Nikki, you know what I mean? She's a big part of that, and like helping me plan. Shout out to my management, Prime at Covert. Like I really appreciate them. They help me and they're guiding me. But yeah, it's all about the hardest thing is just like constantly grinding, man. Like the only time, if you take some time off, you want to wait to put out an album or something like that, you're only hurting yourself. So it's like, as an independent musician, you got to be on it and you got to be ready to put it all out there on the road.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. What's next for Ideal?
Right now, like I said, me and my band are getting ready to play some shows with actually the whole week, the first week of August. I'm touring with Conway the Machine in Cleveland and Chicago and Detroit at the Hip Hop Shelter, which is like the fucking 8 Mile hip hop shelter, which is like a dream come true for me, obviously. And then I'm doing Toronto with him and Action Bronson on the 14th of August.
I need some tickets. When y'all coming to Charlotte?
Oh man, I'm hoping to hop on the full tour with them.
Gotcha.
But then as soon as I get done with that on the 14th, the 17th, I'm touring with Sublime with my band Midwest Type. Ooh. And Sublime's lead singer, they're Sublime with Rome right now, but Rome's stepping back, and Bradley Knowles' kid is actually taking over. So they'll just be Sublime again. And I think things are looking good for us touring with them too. So I'm going to go back and forth, and then I'll have an album coming out. I hope to have my album finished by the end of the year, probably release it next spring.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that, brother.
Thank you, bro. I truly appreciate you, man, for real.
Yeah, for sure. And my very, very last question before we get out of here, I ask everybody this. My favorite question, my go-to question all the time is, because everybody wants to be in the music business, but don't nobody know how to do music business. So if you have any advice for any artist that comes up to you, be like, yo, Ideal, what advice do you have for me getting into the music business? What would it be?
Bro, you just gotta do it. You just gotta you gotta make that music. Nobody's gonna make it for you. You gotta make the album. You gotta put it out. But if you sit on it, nobody's gonna help you. Nobody's gonna put that ball in your court. You gotta fucking do that shit yourself. So like the best advice I have is do the work, man. Like be on top of your game. Be freestyling. Be writing nonstop, man. Everything that you think of, if you're a rapper or producer, everything you think of can be content. You just gotta do it, man. Like that's all there is to it. Like ain't nobody else gonna do it for you. Start a band, make the record, fucking get it out there.
You know what it is, man. My guy, Ideal, fire MC, one of my favorite rappers right now. You know what it is, man.
Thank you, man. That means a lot to me, for real.
Man, you fucking dope, bro. Promote, plug all your social media, everything.
Oh yeah, man. At Ideal MWH, like Midwest Type. Also my band at Midwest Type Band on Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. You can find me on Spotify. You can find my band on Spotify, Apple Music, everything, man. So yeah, check me out. Fucking, I truly appreciate you, bro. This has been great, man.
For sure, man. You know this, man. Ideal, the new single and video out, The Crown, featuring the one and only October London, and can't miss Benny the Butcher. The single out now. Yeah. My guy, Ideal, the album Scatterbrain out. Go stream that, run that up. It's freaking phenomenal. Once again, DJ Chase, the Pregame Party Mix podcast, right here on WDJCDB, DJ Chase Radio, Spotify podcast, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. DJ Chase TV, and I'm out. Yeah.
Thank you.